This is the Daily Divider show where we pick a story from each day and give you my take. 7 days, 7 divides. Let's get into it. On Monday, a fiery standoff between firefighters and the government. Former All Black turned firefighter Steve Devine says fire trucks are breaking down daily, putting lives at risk, while Deputy PM David Seymour insists there's just been one breakdown in months. Firefighters call that claim nonsense, accusing the government of downplaying a fleet in crisis. Fens denies widespread failures, but with the engine catching fire and trucks stalling on the way to emergencies, frontline crews say the system is burning out. I never thought there would be a day where I could title a video that effectively says David Seymour, a minister in our government of this country, has contempt for our firefighters. But I guess that day has come, because I guess that's what I'm going to be titling this podcast, unless I choose something else. I mean, there was a question time point, I believe, I can't exactly remember when, where he was asked how many accidents there are. He said one, and then he's had to take it back, but he hasn't actually disclosed how many, which he damn well knows how many accidents there have been happening under fens with their degrading and decaying equipment. It's all well and good. I don't discount what David Seymour says when fens are investing $20 million in new fire trucks and better maintenance, better infrastructure. I don't know the exact figure that would require not a complete overhaul, but a complete refit of our fleet. But it's the fact that he really does, doesn't he? He has so much contempt for workers as a whole, but specifically in this case firefighters. They're not. He along with the other cabinet ministers across the board, has not been willing to talk to union leaders, unless it's the Free Speech Union, and he's not been willing to be open about discourse. It's this attitude, and that's what makes it so not obvious, but it makes it harder to believe him when he says things like, we are investing millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars into this crisis, which it is. It's an absolute crisis. It is a bubble waiting to be popped by some catastrophic Christchurch earthquake level event. But all I'm seeing from this guy is complete disregard, complete contempt, disgust for our workers and specifically our firefighters. If it needed to take a former All Black to make you change your tune, there's something wrong there. But I don't know. It may just be me. May just be my naivety that expects some form of transparency, some form of willingness to open discourse that David Seymour was so open to do with other interest groups, just not an organisation that represents the workers. And on Tuesday, teachers are calling a foul on what they say is a government power grab, slamming Education Minister Erica Stanford's plan to shrink and take control of the Teaching Council, stripping it of more independence and handing key powers to the ministry. The move comes alongside plans to remove school boards' duty to give effect to Tiriti o Waitangi. A shift critics say weakens Māori representation and hands more control to politicians. When I first saw the article that they were stripping Tiriti from any requirement in schools, it made me think of if a political party in the US, I don't know, the Democrats, stripped the requirement to learn the Constitution, and whether people like it or not, the fact that there is Maori words in it that aren't English. That is close, if not is, our foundational document of this country. And until we write up a constitution that hopefully doesn't involve these poo stains, we will be stuck with this. Now, obviously, a new constitution will involve Māori writing, so I mean they can't escape it unless you leave the country. It is a war. It is a war on a language that people don't really understand. I mean, and then that's the other thing. People seem to think, and a lot of people and a lot of commentators seem to really read this as, well, Māori literacy, Māori education has not been uplifted in the time that this has been a requirement in school boards. So therefore, it's not working. Really? Come on, you can't be that thick. With respect, you can't be that thick. Like, that's not the purpose. Again, if the American Constitution was just booted because Americans' literacy skills hasn't been boosted in the time that it's been, in the few hundred years the country's been in existence, or when the Constitution was written up, why should we have it as a requirement to learn in history? That's absurd. It's the same thing. Again, is it a willful ignorance or willful attitude to completely disregard the treaty? As for what it is a document that people should learn and people should know about. People should know the flaws and the benefits and what it's gotten right, what it's gotten very wrong. But that's the problem. That's the problem with the people on the rights. That's the problem with them lot. They don't want to learn. You know, I know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. There's many things that I don't know. I'm a young person. I can learn. There seems to be a large sect of people that would rather completely throw something in the bin that they don't understand rather than being open to it and learn from it. And they don't like, and if they take a little peek through maybe Pandora's box, they throw it out the window because they don't like what they see in there. And look, I think I kind of had a little bit of a tangent when it came to Tiriti, but I think it is important. I think it is important. But on the power grab, I don't know if I've disclosed it on the channel or on a recording, but I'm someone that does like an air of technocracy in a state. I believe that there is a place where technocracy can thrive. I believe that it's much better to have experts in areas that people that have studied academics that have been in that position for years, studied that position, and I know it off their back, nerds basically. That may not exactly be personable, probably will be if they are involved in education, but this is across the board. But know their stuff and act as good supervisors. Supervisors, but also advisors to the elected officials. When you get into a scenario where a minister who doesn't necessarily need to be qualified for the sort of portfolio that they are overseeing starts to have more input about the intricacies of a curriculum, for example, in this case, or the intricacies of how different schooling works, I think that's where things get into deep shit, right? There needs to be some form of gap. Otherwise, you're just using it for control. On Wednesday, the government's considering new powers to move homeless people off Auckland streets, sparking fears of a ban on rough sleeping and outrage from advocates. Police and ministers say it's about restoring safety in the CBD, but rough sleepers warn it'll push them into crime or danger. Critics call it cruel and pointless, hiding poverty instead of housing people. Well, look at what's happening here. Now, I should say, as it stands, if this was to go through Parliament, which it does, there are associating bills in the biscuit tin as we speak right now. They could be pulled out of ballot. As it stands, it seems like the ACT Party does not support it, and New Zealand First, I doubt, will support a bill like that. It's a bit surprising to me that the ACT Party would. It seems right up their alley. It's playing into foreign business and foreign tourism. But you know what? Credit where credit is due, as long as you stay that point. Let's play a little game. Guess what happens when you cut thousands of emergency housing? You kick thousands of people, as Luxon so vehemently applauds himself and Taumapōtaka as an extension. Thousands off the state housing lineup. Sell hundreds, leave 300 to, I believe, 600 houses unattended. You get rising homelessness. What? Oh my God. And not only that, you cut benefits for thousands of people. You reject the benefit that you wanted to give families as an election winner. You make it as difficult as possible for families. You cut benefits for thousands of young people, 18 to 19-year-olds, 18 to 21-year-olds, rather. And I wonder what happens. I wonder what happens. You get homelessness. You get homelessness. I'm not coming from a point of care. I'm coming from a point of just common fucking sense. If you cut these things, people will be sent out the streets and by extension just die. Because that's what I've always been saying. I don't want to toot my own horn because this is awful. But what are they supposed to do? You move them from Auckland specifically, and then what? What? Seriously, what? Seriously, to another place. What? You'll make your own Christmas island? You dump them on... Well, you wouldn't dump them on Waiheke Island. I don't know. Chuck them in the volcano. Energy is a constant thing. You know, it changes in different forms. But when it comes to people, they're always there until they die. This is the problem that people need to that you guys need to understand. These guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. All they see is a line on a map, or a line on a graph, and they go, whoop, take tick 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 tick. Hey, everything's great. Everything's fine. Less people in the waiting line. That means everything's great. Yay. Less money to cost for school lunches. That means everything's great. Yay. I haven't even mentioned what came around when this news came out. These guys, like the national, and I'll speak quickly, but I just want to say, these losers, across the board when it comes into politics for the National Party and in the media, with respect, been crowing about, oh, there's a leak in the Labour Party. Oh, there's a leak in the Labour Party. Oh my God. There's a leak in the Labour Party. They're leaking the CGT. Maybe someone doesn't like the CGT. It's the opposite. I don't think they were happy with... I think it's too narrow. But I digress. You're hearing nothing now. Ooh. What happened, right? And I've been edging you on. If you don't know what happened, there was question time, and I believe it was, I don't know, I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday. What it looked like was that the Labour Party caught wind of a talk and of conversation that the National Party, specifically the National Party caucus, and specifically the National Party leadership, I believe Simeon Brown, who was the Minister of Auckland, talked to police and local government, the local council in Auckland, the Auckland Council, about the policy, about the possibility of kicking out homeless people and giving the police a right to kick out if they are unruly. Great broad definition, huh? Labour caught wind of that, which obviously, because I was watching it live, took them by surprise. It took ACT in New Zealand first by surprise. And what did Luxon do when Chris Hipkins asked, are you having conversation, or is there a cabinet paper? Do you have any, is there anything on this? He said no. Okay, so there's no official talks. Okay, that's fine. Backroom talks is different. Okay, good way with words. That's fine. Chris Hipkins asks again. No, both to no. There's been no discussions and no official talks. I wonder what happened. The next day, Oh yeah, right. Yeah, no, we did actually. That did happen. Yeah, we were actually looking to it because it's in the biscuit tin. Because that is happening. Why would you lie? Why would you lie? What's the point? Why would you lie? What? Like, see, this is my problem with that, man. Like, there are other people in that party that could do a better job in that position. Tama Pawtucket, put him on. Erica Stanford, I think she's absolutely lost any chance of being leader from what she's doing with the education ministry and their curriculum. Judith Collins would do a better job. Like, I cannot believe that man is a leader of our country. What an absolute. Does he have any fucking brain? I cannot. And that's the thing. Why wouldn't he say, no, there's been no official vote. We have had minor discussions. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm tweaking out here. And this is something that probably, and I'm not even tweaking out on the fact that they're willing to look at kicking out their own citizens rather than helping them. Not even that. Because that's what I expect from the National Party. They don't like you. They have contempt for you. They only love their donors. And their donors are not you. So I'm fine with that. I'm well aware of that. And I'll never vote for them. And I hope you don't either. Unless they've got $1 million house and then, no, not $1 million. Everyone's got $1 million house. $10 million house, then what are you doing? It's the fact that I can't imagine John Key would do it. It's like I'm saying, what would Diana do? But it's true, right? I can't imagine any minister saying that. Maybe Simeon Brown. He's a bit of a little boy. I just wanted to outlay my feelings, and I'll probably bleep out the expletives that I said. It's crazy to me because I was thinking in those 2 days, why would you lie? If it's true, why would you lie? Why wouldn't you just admit and say yes? Because what do you gain from it? You just look like a buffoon. You look like a troglodyte. You look like you don't even know what's happening in your own fucking cabinet. That's even worse. I mean, with not his own cabinet, because with respect, of course, ACT and New Zealand First had no clue about this, which is even funnier. So it didn't even meet those coalition discussions, which is probably why he lied. Even then. Why? It was going to come out. If Labour knew it, it might as well be out to the world. It's so good. It's so good. He's such a buffoon. And on Thursday, New Zealand First is under fire for briefly pulling its controversial definition of man and woman bill, only to reinsert it less than a day later, replacing a prostate cancer proposal. The party insists it wasn't bowing to backlash from social conservatives, calling it a procedural swap. I got a bit giddy, and I laughed my ass off. It's something that is serious, of course, but when I saw this on Thursday, nothing screams New Zealand First are full of second-rate politicians and they use culture war topics to stay in Parliament than this. Oh my God. So usually what happens I don't know if it's for every party, but when it comes to New Zealand First, they only are allowed to have 4 members' bills in the biscuit tin. And they've got, I believe, 12 in the list. And they have to swap things out if they choose. And which the Winston Peters went on this rant, or not rant, but on this tirade, this righteous tirade against fireworks. I'm not a fan of them, but I don't really have an opinion on banning them. It's whatever. So he decided to create a bill to propose a bill in the biscuit tin to ban fireworks. Okay, great. You're meeting the moment. So he had to swap one out. They decided to swap out the definition of man and woman bill. Great England, which caused a bit of an upflock in the turf community. A bit of hubbub, a bit of a well, New Zealand first don't like women anymore. Ooh, sexism or some shit. I don't know. I forgot the organisation. It's like an Australasian baby woman association, whatever. He folded, and he decided, okay, I'll put the bill back in, but I need to swap with something. Did he swap it with the fireworks ban? No, because that's recent. That's a recent bill that will get you votes. You need to time it right. That could still win you votes and win you support in the polls. So we're keeping it in. So what bill will we take out? How about something that's related to prostate cancer? Yes, absolutely. I mean, are they even a real party at this point? Do they actually do good things? I don't know. Because all it seems to me is that they're just a party full of identity nonsense, and they're just wishing to virtue signal to their voters and say, look at us, we're fighting the system. Ooh, we're nationalists. Ooh. On Friday, the government's military-style boot camp pilot for serious youth offenders has been branded rushed, too small, and largely ineffective, with most participants reoffending within 2 months of release. Final report found some positive shifts in behaviour, but major flaws in design, cultural integration, and follow-up support. Despite the failures, Minister Karen Shaw insists the program gave young offenders a chance to turn their lives around. I'm not someone that is actually opposed to something like this. I believe it is important. Now, I'm no educator, so this is my own opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. I do believe that there is a place for something like this. I think there is a place for a boot camp that can whip people in line, and it has done so for years, decades, centuries. It's done that. And yes, of course, that's not the be-all and end-all, that the way that this government, this party, has so declared. Because all this was just a election winner, was just a... It's like their Law and Order. It is in the same park as their whole law and order shtick. It's just a worthless bill. Not a bill. It's just a worthless initiative that doesn't do anything to lower youth offending rate. Any offending rate overall when it comes to Māori, Pākehā, anybody. Doesn't do anything. All it does is just signals to their voters and says that, look, we're tough on these kids. We're tough on them. We're making them march a lot. Ooh, that's all it is. On Saturday, Treasury is warning the government's finances are on an unsustainable path, urging it to sell off underperforming state assets like KiwiRail, TVNZ and KiwiBank to plug growing deficits. With debt rising and costs soaring, officials say New Zealand can't just grow its way out of the red. And tough choices on taxes, spending and ownership are now unavoidable. So what do I think? What do I think about this? No. Done. End of segment. Next segment, let's go on to Sunday. No, okay, let's be a bit more nuanced. Why shouldn't you sell state assets? The idea to own companies, government-owned companies, publicly owned enterprise, is to receive the dividends that you receive from it, and more specifically to have more control and to not have to go through the rigmarole of paying consultants and paying a company that would require a profit margin. There's less worry on that. There's more wiggle room. Arguably there's more flexibility there. It's a double-edged sword. Sometimes there's not as much flexibility when it's under your control, but I digress. There is only one company that I am willing to entertain and even follow through on to sell our share of, and that's Air New Zealand. I completely get why we still have control, because the national government, the previous two national governments, not John Key one, the Ruthanasia one, sold off Air New Zealand and it went to the shitter. Same with KiwiRail, same with our rail infrastructure. Sold off and then just got sold for parts, almost. But then the Labour government came in, swooped in like a hero, and bought back Air New Zealand and our rail infrastructure to make Kiwi Rail. I think we're at a point that unless we have a minority stake, I just think that, in my opinion, I think we could do with selling off shares progressively and use that money, use those funds to reinvest into rail infrastructure. I love trains. No, but seriously, I would consider that. I think if I wanted to be conciliatory, because I'm not someone that says we need to get rid of, they're quite the opposite. We can't get rid of any state-owned enterprise. No. There are some things around there that there's some specific aspects that maybe the government doesn't really need to do. But Kiwi Rail? No thanks. We really need to invest in rail infrastructure right now, and it can't be cargo. And if we sell it off to private enterprise, we currently already have a cargo-focused, freight-focused system. If we sell it off, the incentive's already there. We can't really do much wiggle room around in bringing in passenger rail. If we sell off TVNZ, well, it has a profit motive, and yes, TVNZ has a profit motive currently, but it has the government to fall back on if it's underwater, because we can't have no news. It's self-explanatory, in my opinion. And Kiwi Bank. Kiwi Bank was created by the Labour government to break the deadlock between the four banks. Has it succeeded? No, not really. In my opinion, I think that because the government and successive governments haven't gone all in onto this idea, I just don't think that they have. I think it should be a requirement that every time you move, if you become an MP, you should switch your bank to the Kiwi Bank. I don't know how doable that is, but that would be incredibly funny. Rep the merch. And the idea, plug growing deficits. Okay, it is just like the selling off of Mainland and Anchor. Sure, you get 100 to 200,000 per farm. Great money. What happens in a few years where the profits aren't going towards you, and then you're stuck in decay? I don't have to tell you. We're already seeing that with our power companies. We sold off almost half, 49% of all of our state-owned enterprises in the energy sector. Look what's happening. Almost 11 billion New Zealand dollars we have not seen in dividends. We have not seen invested. Only well less than that, about a few billion has been invested. After that, a few years after that sale, only a few billion has been invested in new, proper energy infrastructure. Which will, if you think it's hurting us now, it will fucking ruin us in a few decades if we don't get our act together on that. We are already seeing it. We are damn lucky that we didn't see it with Kiwi Rail, although that is a degrading infrastructure in its own right, but it's for different reasons. That could have been much worse if the Labour government didn't choose to act right then. That could have been catastrophic. We are already seeing that degrade in the energy sector. The incentive will be profit, and the incentive of the people will go out the window. That's it. It's something I wanted to speak really briefly about. What I'm still really excited about the New Zealand Future Fund that the Labour Party is promoting as their not their flagship policy, but I guess is their first policy that they announced, and it has to do with these two segments. There is a big thing. There is one of the many big things that I like about this fund is that it's no ordinary one, right? What it does is that it brings in a couple of state-owned enterprises, be it energy, which I hope it does, and then they buy the rest of the shares. For example, like Meridian and a couple of shares, and then they move it into this fund and they lock it in as equity for further investments. And what that does, it makes it damn well difficult for cannibals and government economic cannibals to come into the government after and completely gut it. It makes it incredibly difficult. And even then, not only to sell off the state-owned asset, but to get rid of the future fund. You've got a lot of things going around, a lot of crossing ties. That makes it incredibly difficult to unravel without completely wrecking things. Which, you know, if this lot will be in government when the future fund is in full force, then I wouldn't exactly put it past them. But it's not. It does make things incredibly difficult, and that's that's one of the reasons why I'm incredibly excited. The other reason, of course, is it's an actual plan for the country, something that this party, the National Party, is extremely lacking of. If you like this video, click like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay up to date with the weekly breakdown, the daily divide, and other bonus content.